Hey, what is poppin'? It's your boy Fizz, and I am bringing you guys the MPL Major Season 7 Week 3 battle going up against Choice CJ and the Baltimore Oriolus. Now, CJ is a guy that I've watched plenty of his videos. He's always done very well in like all the leagues he's ever been in. He's done well in like the BBL, I believe he's in, the UBL, GBA D League, and again, I expect big things out of him in this MPL Major season just because of his tremendous draft and his ability to play Pokemon. He's definitely a very solid player, and very looking forward to this matchup right here, just so I can go 2-1 potentially. And if you haven't seen our Week 2 battle up against Nick, aka Reckless Bad, definitely go check it out. I'm going to leave a link in the description below. It was a very good battle, so definitely go check that out before you come here. So yeah, my plan here is to try to go positive for Rogue at least, but I've actually been announced as a permanent coach for MPL now, so Rogue is going to be basically dipping from MPL, so I'm going to be replacing him full time. So you guys are going to be seeing not only 2 weeks, but you're going to be seeing every week. Wow, that's a tongue twister. Every week on my channel, so that's really cool, and really looking forward to this league. It's going to be really fun doing a Wi-Fi league, like I said before. It's a nice change of pace before Jenny comes out. But anyways, that was a long intro, and yeah, I'm just going to jump right into CJ's team. First off, he has a Tapu Koko, Infernape, Muckalola, or Alolan Muck rather, Gliscor, Empoleon, Piloswine, Mesprit, Kangaskhan, Sceptile, Raichu, Alolan Raichu, I just said those backwards, and the Mega Blastoise. So definitely a very, very scary team. He has the Koko, which is probably the best mon in the format, if not one of the best mons in the format, for sure. And he has a very good defensive core, especially that Alolan Muck dude. That hard wall is my first 2 mons on my screen with the Tapu Lele and the Blacephalon. So Muck is just very annoying for me to deal with. And what beats it is my Sand Core, like the Excadrill T-Tar. But unfortunately, he has a Gliscor, which kind of hard walls my Excadrill in every way, shape, and form. And Mega T-Tar is just kind of checked by the Mega Blastoise. So it's going to be very hard to puncture his team with my offense, but I believe I can do it. I have really solid wall breakers to break through him. And hopefully that's going to be the plan here, just to try to break through his defense and try to avoid his offense as best as I can, because I obviously don't have really good switch-ins to Koko other than Excadrill. So something I need to keep in mind is that for sure. So he just has a very good draft, very nice offensive draft. But it's pretty balanced as well. He has several like terrain abusers with the Sceptile and Alolan Raichu, which is pretty terrifying. Alolan Raichu I don't really have checks to, so not going to be looking for that one. But yeah, that's enough of that. I'm going to jump right into my team. First of all, I have the Tapu Lele, Choice Scarf, Psychic, Moonblast, Thunderbolt, and the Shadow Ball. Now, before I jump into the rest of my team, I'm just going to say that I didn't really have time to build my team this week, so I kind of relied on my front office to make me a team, and then we went over a couple of stuff, changed a couple of things, and then this is the team that we're rocking with. So I was just incredibly busy all week in regards to Pokemon and work and stuff, so I just didn't have enough time to build for CJ here. So my front office kind of carried, they put together a team. Shout out to Chesben, who's a main factor in this team, so really appreciate the help, man. And we changed a couple of things, I believe, so I could make the team better. But yeah, overall I think this is a pretty good team, something that I would probably run myself, so not much change in that respect. But yeah, anyways, first off, I have the Tapu Lele with Choice Scarf, Psychic, Moonblast, T-Bolt, and the Shadow Ball. I am Modest Scarf, which kind of bodies his entire team except for like Alolan Muck and the Empoleon, so I can get free Choice Scarf, Modest, Moonblast off on his team, which does tremendously well on his entire team except for those 2 exceptions that I mentioned before. Empoleon is really easy to whittle down, so I'm not too worried about that. Don't even know if it really comes, to be honest with you. But yeah, one thing that is a problem is Alolan Muck. Of course I can get Pursuit Trapped, but Modest Moonblast should be able to do like 30-40% to that thing anyway, so I can chip it down pretty easily, force it to go for Recycle or whatever the set is. So I can chip that thing down really easily. I just need like some rocks up and a little bit of chip on Alolan Muck, and I can actually 2-shot it. So that's going to be really good to note. And yeah, it seems like a weird set just because of Alolan Muck and Empoleon right there, but against the rest of his team, it kind of bodies him. So yeah, that's why I'm bringing in Choice Scarf Lele. It's a pretty good set in my opinion. Next up, I have Shenlong, my Mega T-Tar, with Crunch, Ice Punch, Earthquake, and Stealth Rock. I have Ice Punch over Ice Beam since it literally does more to the Gliscor, because I don't have to split EVs and run like a defense-lowering nature instead of like Adamant or Jolly or whatever I decided to bring. So really felt like Ice Punch did more to the Gliscor just because of that. And yeah, Crunch, Earthquake hits everything else on his team. I'm pretty content with that coverage along with Ice Punch, so it hits everything on its team. And rocks are going to be very, very important for my team, just to be able to win with like my Lele, get enough chip on the Alolan Muck. Same thing with my Escadrille, it really appreciates rocks late game. Same thing with Hawlucha. So I have a lot of win cons in this game, but they all appreciate rocks. So that's why I have rocks on this thing. It's pretty reliable against this team. And I have enough EVs to live a Life Orb Focus Blast from Raichu. So yeah, it's going to be very important for me. And I have a lot of speed on there just so I don't get like taunted by Gliscor. I can outspeed that thing potentially. And I can outspeed a lot of his threats in general, which is going to be pretty cool. And so fast, kind of like mixed attacking and defensive investment T-Tart here. I really like this set. I think it works the best here, but it's going to be tough to get up rocks on his team just because he has so many good leads against me. I can't really lead T-Tar very well, so definitely need to like play my leads correctly here. And next up I have my Suicune Juvia here with Scald, Roar, Toxic, and Protect. I said those out of order, but that's okay. This is going to be my switch in Infernape quotation marks because he can have access to like the Iron Fist, Thunder Punch, and Electric Terrain, which obviously does two-shot my Suicune, which is not going to be a good time. But what Suicune does, it can switch into Alolan Muck. Not very well, but I can Scald it back, burn it. And nothing on his team really appreciates a burn either. Like Mega Blastoise getting that thing chipped is just going to be phenomenal for my Excadrill late game. So yeah, getting chip on anything with Scald is just going to be really good for me. And Polion, if I get that Scald burned, it's going to be really good for my Lele, just to be able to chip it down, etc. And I have Roar on there just so I can like roar things out if need be. Like I don't really know. Like Roar is really good in case I need to phase the Muck a little more, get some more hazard chip on it. And Toxic is there just so I'm able to get the most chip possible on Mega Blastoise and stuff like that. And his only thing that really wants to switch into Suicune is Empoleon, because obviously Alolan Muck can get Scald burned, etc. So, and I don't really expect Empoleon to come, so this Suicune set is really nice here, being able to burn and Toxic things. So yeah, I really like the Suicune set. Again, Fizz up for the Infernape just makes the most sense here. And yeah, just a straightforward set. Next up, I have my AV Escadrille, just to be able to help me with the Tapu Koko, Sceptile, and Alolan Raichu. I can take a couple of hits from Alolan Raichu, a Focus Blast. I can chew one, and obviously I can chew anything from Koko, except for unless he's like Z Nature's Madness, which can definitely come for sure. Do 75% to me, open the door for his Raichu, and also helps against the Sceptile that kind of runs through me. So I really need to be careful about that Sceptile. AV was probably just the best set here. And I have Sand Rush just to be able to serve as a pretty good win con if Gliscor is gone. So I really want that thing dead. Rapid Spin is good just so I can get rid of rocks on my side. I really don't like rocks on my side. I want to be able to switch into his offensive threats without any hazard chip on my end. X-Scissor just to be able to hit Sceptile the hardest. And Dual Stab is obvious. So yeah, a lot of HP investment and Spadef investment with an AV. It's pretty good here. I think it's the best set that I could bring against his team. I would love to run like a more offensively oriented set, but his offensive threats are just too much, especially his Electric Terrain Abuser. So I really need to run AV Excadrill here in this matchup, unfortunately. But either way, it's a pretty good set, and I really like this Excadrill set. Next up, I have the Blacephalon Hisoka with the Choice Specs, Fire Blast, Shadow Ball, Mind Blown, and Trick. So my idea in this matchup was just to be able to hit or pressure Alolan Muck as best as I can with my Lele and my Blacephalon. Obviously, he can't like Shadow Sneak me, which I don't really expect because I have a Lele. He can't really do much there. He'd rather have like another coverage option or Toxic or something. So yeah, the best way I can break through Alolan Muck is going for Choice Specs, Fire Blast, and Mind Blown. So that's going to be my plan here. And either way, he does not have a very good fire resist. Like his water is going to be Empoleon and Mega Blastoise, but a Mega Blastoise doesn't really appreciate a Spec Shadow Ball to the face. So that's why I expect that to be Spadef. One of the reasons why I expect it to be Spadef. And Trick is really nice just so I'm able to like trick the Alolan Muck potentially. Give it a Choice Spec so it's like pretty much removed from the game as a threat, and being able to switch in to my Lele and Blacephalon later in the game. So that's really good stuff there. All I needed was Dual Stab plus Mind Blown to be able to break through his team. I really like Specs in this matchup. I think it's a fantastic set and really aids with the Lele in breaking Alolan Muck. So that's the point of the Blacephalon in this matchup. I feel like it's really solid and is able to do its job really well. Next up I have my Hawlucha. I have sub as D, Drain Punch, and Acrobatics. I'm able to sub all over the Gliscor unless he has like Ice Fang with hella investment. I don't really think he'll run like max attack Gliscor with Adamant. He needs like Ice Fang or something to break my sub. And SD kind of wins me the game. So that's really good stuff there. It's going to be tricky for him to break my sub as well, like a Pilot Line. If I'm in Psychic Terrain rather, he can't Ice Shard me, so that's really good for me, and I can Drain Punch it back. So yeah, obviously things like the SCEPTILE outspeed me under his Electric Terrain, but with like SCEPTILE gone, this thing can put in tremendous amounts of work, and this outspeeds the Alolan Raichu, since that's the fastest thing that can double its speed, etc. So I can't really run Adamant in this matchup, unfortunately, but either way, sub SD is going to give me plenty of opportunities to set up, like in front of the Muck, for example. Maybe. I don't think so, but mostly in front of the Gliscor. I can be able to break that thing down for my Excadrill late game, or I can use Excadrill to break Gliscor down for my Hawlucha late game. It all depends on what the scenarios are, but yeah, I like the set. It's pretty straightforward, pretty obvious, but you know, it works. But yeah, I really like my team. I think it's a tough matchup just because of Alolan Muck. It's just so hard to deal with, and his offense is just terrifying against me. Don't really have very good switch-ins to them. So definitely need to be playing my best Pokemon in this battle. And yeah, that's going to be my team, and I'm going to get connected with CJ really quickly. And we are here with the battle against CJ. Good luck, have fun, of course. And unfortunately, we did disconnect pretty early on in the game as he made a play. So it was going to be really hard to recreate that on Wi-Fi. So Greg, thank you so much for allowing us to play on SD instead. It was just going to be tremendously hard to recreate what happened on Wi-Fi, so really like that we're playing on Showdown, and it's more familiar territory over last week. So yeah, we're going against CJ, and he decides to bring the Gliscor, Mega Blastoise, Infernape, Koko, the SCEPTILE, and the Alolan Raichu. So I am absolutely shocked that he did not bring the Alolan Muck, which did so well against my Lele and my Blacephalon, which are pretty potent threats against the team that he decided to bring. So just honestly just shocked that he didn't bring a Alolan Muck, but he just said after the game that he didn't feel like I had a good matchup against the rest of my team, which is definitely fair. But I felt like it was pretty good just to be able to check the Blacephalon and Lele. But obviously he thought different, and he decided to bring the SCEPTILE, which was an interesting pick here. I'm going to say didn't really regard it as a threat on Team Preview, so I'm thinking to myself, okay, he only brought 5 Mons with the SCEPTILE, so yeah, that may or may not be my mistake. Let's see in this game, but yeah, I'm just going to jump into the battle, and I decided to lead off with T-Tar just to get up rocks. Didn't really have a good lead for T-Tar to get up rocks on, so I'm forced to go into Suicune right away, and this, I don't really want to take that much chip on the Suicune just because of Ape. I need to be able to switch into that. And right here, I decided to go for the Toxic, just a little this thing down for my Blacephalon and my Excadrill, and that was the exact play that took forever on Wi-Fi. He lured me into the Hawlucha exactly, and then we disconnected right after. So it was going to be, and then we disconnected right after that, and then it was going to be way easier to recreate it on Showdown. So after this, everything is on Showdown, nothing happened on Wi-Fi. So yeah, apologies for that, but yeah. I go into my Hawlucha, which is probably the worst thing you could have possibly brought out, other than like the Excadrill. And I go back into my Suicune as he goes into his Koko. So he makes a nice double there, pretty nice double there, and he gets free momentum with the U-turn. But obviously I can't really stay in with my Suicune since I need it very much as he U-turns into his Gliscor. So really good play there to U-turn there, pretty obvious play, but very good one. And he goes for the rocks here just to be able to whittle down my team, which is really, really bad. I don't want this to ever happen. As I go for a Toxic right here, didn't think he would stay in, but obviously he didn't stay in, but he went to the Blastoise on my Toxic, which was a really solid play on his end. And I have to go for the Protect here since I want to see what move he's scouting or what move he's going for. As he goes for the Roar right here, and at this point he roars me into a Blacephalon, which is pretty bad. But right here is in range of a Shadow Ball, Spec Shadow Ball if he's not Spadef Investment, but he is Spadef Investment as he misses a Hydro Pump, which, you know what, we take those, but that really, really sucks for him. But it didn't really end up mattering since he died to that anyway, and I didn't really have a switch into Koko anymore, didn't want him to U-turn, so I decided to sack off my Blacephalon. May or may not be the next mistake that I made, but against the rest of the team it didn't do that well. It broke the Blastoise, that's what it did for me for my Excadrill, so I think it did its job. I go into the Lele as something has to die to a modest Psychic, that's Scarf. As you can see, this Alolan Raichu resists a hit, but it doesn't take 2. So that goes down, he goes into the Koko to reset terrain. And I just need a little more chip on this thing to be able to put it in range of a modest Scarf Psychic. So yeah, I go into my T-Tar here. I didn't really have another play except go into Excadrill, but I didn't want him to go into Gliscor again. As he goes into his Infernape, I go into my Suicune again. Maybe switch in on the CC, but he goes for the U-turn here, getting really nice momentum as he goes back into his Koko. So this Koko is giving him really nice pivoting options, and I kind of want to punish that. But right here, I go for protect just for lefty's recovery, and just want to see what he wants to go for as he goes for wild charge here. And I felt like the U-turn was pretty obvious here, but I had to make the same play as I go into my X control on the wild charge. So he didn't get U-turn there, which is really nice for me. But right here, I'm going to go into my Lele as he doesn't have any switch-ins, and this was my opportunity to get it in against something and kill it. So yeah, this Gliscor dies to 2 Psychics. Unfortunately, he barely hangs on. There's a 30% chance to kill at that range, but I get chip on my Psychic, which is really bad. As he goes into his Coco, this thing is in range of a Psychic, so I'm just going to take it out. That's my only play at this point, because it was probably going to U-turn into this SCEPTILE anyway. So at this point, I'm just thinking to myself, okay, in what ways can I lose this game? And I anticipated him being like a, what's it called, like a workup set on the special side with like Leaf Storm or something like that. But yeah, I just cannot allow him to set up. But he goes for the Earthquake here, and right here, my heart stopped because I didn't have any checks at this point. I'm going to go into my extra drill. Hopefully I can take one as he goes for the workup here. And I could take one at neutral. I go for the X Scissor, does not knock him out as he goes for the workup and kills me with an Earthquake. And my best bet is to go into Hawlucha. Hopefully I live something. But he reveals the Acrobatics right here. And that's going to be GG against CJ. So really good game on his end. He played that SCEPTILE impeccably. He played that very, very well. And quite honestly, didn't bring any like SCEPTILE checks, which I never thought those words would come out of my mouth. But I didn't bring any regular SCEPTILE checks. So that was really bad. Really good bring on his end to bring mixed SCEPTILE. As you can see, he brought the Leaf Storm. So just a really good set. His end, he played that very well. Now on my end, I don't really think I played that bad. In that position, with a Lele against a SCEPTILE that recently came in off a fresh turn, there was no play I could have made that made him lose the game or make me win the game. So didn't really have a choice there, except going to Hawlucha, but I died to an Acrobatics after Rocks at neutral, which, yeah, again, I couldn't really do anything about that play. It was just really well preserved on his end to go into the SCEPTILE. Maybe go into T-Tar to get some sand chip, but didn't really know what to do at that point. That was too intricate, but yeah, he brought a really good set in the SCEPTILE, and my AV Extra Drill did pretty much nothing, so I was crying the entire time. Now I'm playing. But yeah, really good game to CJ. He played that very well, like I said before, and we are now going to 1-2 in the season. And this is going to be the last week with my draft, my current draft. I am ending the week by dropping Mega T-Tar for Mega Gyarados and dropping Blacephalon for Hippowdon. So I have a better Sand Setter, being able to give me more Sand turns with the ability to run the Smooth Rock. So like Hippowdon can obviously hold the item, Mega T-Tar cannot. So that was one of my choices for Sand Setting. Like Hippowdon was right there. I think that's a better, like it's not a better Pokemon necessarily, but I think it's a better Sand Setter for Excadrill, and I think this team really revolves around Excadrill breaking the Steel types that Lele has trouble with. So I really wanted that to be the case, and Mega Gyarados gives me a nice fat Dark type and another Water, which isn't always a bad thing, and it can break Steels more than like Mega Sharpedo can, so that's the reason why I chose Mega Gyarados. And I didn't like Blacephalon. I think it's kind of a bad Mon, so maybe you guys can prove me wrong, but I think Blacephalon's not very good, and I dropped it for a better Pokemon instead. So yeah, that's going to be the transactions. I'll go over it obviously next week when I go against Sebi and the Montreal Monferno. So we're excited to play that game. He was a Minors champion last season, so we beat the Majors champion. Let's see if we can beat the Minors champion in Sebi. So yeah, again, GG to CJ. Hopefully we can battle soon, potentially in playoffs or another league, wherever our adventures go. And yeah, that's going to be it for me. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching. It means the world to me. And like always, have a swell day. Peace.